bombarded with these things. So, and this isn't the first case that I've heard of, not this particular event, but people getting bombarded with more than what they thought they were going to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember. There was another story we did a long time ago, near the beginning of the show, like the beginning when I first started the show. I feel like we did a story about something like that, where somebody put something out on Facebook or on social media, and it I'm trying to think, and it they ended up like switching it. They got so much mail, they ended up changing the mailbox.
Oh wow! Like bad or like good?
Well, I mean, it was good.
Like
it was good, but
mail?
they changed. They like switched it over to a PO box.
Oh, okay.
So then that way it wouldn't flood their mailbox with a whole bunch of stuff, so they could kind of keep it separate.
Yeah.
No, you know what it was? There was an address that was put somewhere. I feel like it was like a Santa Claus address or something. And these kids this couple gets cards. And they respond to the cards, or they forward it to where it's actually supposed to be going or something like that. It was a story a while back. I don't remember the specifics of it.
Huh.
But if you go back in our archive, it's I can guarantee you there's a story in there. I just don't know where and which one. I know it was in our early days of the show, but yeah, it was a couple would get a letter for the person that used to live there, and so they would forward it to.
Oh, who it was supposed to go to?
Right, but it was they were getting a lot of mail, so I didn't know if like the guy was. I don't know. Like I said, I don't remember the exact specifics, but I just remember that it's put on social media that they have a lot of and they ended up getting a lot of mail. So anyway, so watch what you post on social media. I mean, even I have to be careful. Trying to go on a radio. Or be a personality, I've really got to watch what I share, what I post, what people share on my page.
Yeah.
If I see somebody, I think I turn that setting off, but if I see somebody sharing something on my page, I usually look at it first and then delete it if I don't want it on there. Just because I could get, in some pretty big trouble if I post something and it's, graphic
even if you get like tagged in something. Like I got tagged in like a review about one of the venturing camps in the central region, and it was not a stupendous review. It was not a nice review. It wasn't like terrible, but it was definitely kind of bashing the camp.
Right.
And somebody tagged me in it, and the central region president calls me up. He's like, "Hey Gordon, you got a minute?" And I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" And he's like, "Yeah, did you see this post online?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, you tagged in it, right?" It's like, oh, yeah, obviously. And he's like, well, do you agree with it? And I'm like, it's sort of, not really. Like, I mean, I see where he's coming from, but at the same time, like, I'm not going to completely bash the camp.
Right.
And he's like, well, I mean, you being tagged in it kind of looks like you're involved with, like, the post. And I'm like,
right.
Oh, okay, yeah, let me text the guy real quick. So then I got taken off the actual post, and it was very chaotic. So now I have, when people tag me in things, I have to say, yes, I'm allowing you to tag me in it. I approve of it.
I should look at that.
Yeah, it works every single time. And like bad photos and everything like that.
I know my login, like to log into my Facebook, I have to have my phone near me because if I don't, I can't log into my Facebook.
Oh.
Because I have it so that I have to have, so I go to log into Facebook on a new computer. So like say I go to the library and try to log on to Facebook.
Yeah.
If I log on to Facebook, it sends a code to my phone. If I don't have my phone, and it's getting to the point, it used to just send a text, and then I would type the code in. It's gotten to the point where it's so fancy that it'll just pop up on my phone, yes or no. Is this you? Yes or no? And then I can just hit yes, and it'll instantly on the computer grant me access to whatever that was.
Huh. That's cool.
I think it is. Anyway, after the show, you're gonna have to teach me that setting about tagging stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But yeah, no, this is super cool. If like I said, if you really want to help his cause, you can go in the description below. It should give you more information on how to contact them, and help Brocktoberfest.
That's a cool name.
It's
I love
fantastic
it. They need
name.
to like copyright it.
Yes.
Or get a trademark for it.
They do. So moving on to another story. I feel like it's actually completely different. It's still a good story, but it's completely like switching gears.
Yeah.
So there's a group of girls that have managed to solve a problem that I feel like most adults haven't even been able to solve.
Yeah.
So what it is there's a girl named Melissa, and she had never thought about anybody in her school, or especially maybe the person ever going hungry. She always thought everybody was kind of like her. Ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and until one day that completely changed. And what it was is she had volunteered for this. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of the right word. Tutoring program.
Oh.
She volunteered for this tutoring program, and at the first meeting, she saw that there were a whole bunch of kids were eating. And she's sitting there thinking, well, we just ate, an hour ago, and we're going to eat, 2 hours,
Later,
when we get home. Well, why are these? And then they explain that most of these kids, their parents don't have money to give, or don't have, the money to give them to get them a lunch at school, much less feed them when they're at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so, starting with that, she decided that she would, kind of switch gears and try to help. And try to help and figure out a solution for this. And so what she did is she partnered up with, let me see if I can find the names. She partnered up with a whole bunch of her friends, and they essentially created an app.
Oh.
And, sorry, my computer's glitching out again. What this app does is, people who, it's kind of like a debit card for kids is my understanding. Okay. It's like a lunch debit card. So you have this app. The parents can put money on the app for their kid, and then their kid has a card, and they can just swipe it at school, buys them lunch. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now here's where it helps out. The parent can also choose to donate money to another student in need. Oh. They don't have to. That part's anonymous. So what they do is they have a special application process for people who need, who can't afford to get, lunch for their kids at school or, what have you. And so they would fill out an application, and at that point they would, they'd fill out an application, and they would be put on an anonymous list. And anytime a parent chooses to donate to another student, it's probably just like a donate to another student button. Mm-hmm. $2, $3, $4, whatever. And that'll go to somebody anonymously. And then that way they'll, more kids will be able to pay for lunch. Because she feels like, or this student feels like, that if it's easier for the parents to do, they'll be more likely to do it. Which I kind of agree.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have to go out of your way to, track somebody down to try to give them money, to try to help support them, you're less likely to do it rather than if it's a click of a button. You've already got to put money on your kid's card anyway, and you go, oh well, donate. Yeah, $4. What the hell?
Yeah.
Just, let's donate that. So I think this is a cool concept. I know when I went through school, between my mom and my grandma, my dad, they're not broke, but they were low income enough that I was able to be enrolled in a program which was called just free lunches. Mm-hmm. And essentially it paid for one full meal. So I could get breakfast if I wanted to, but I just go in, I type in my student ID, and it would pop right up. I would just have to do some paperwork in the beginning. Like my mom would have to, or my grandma would have to fill out an application. Mm-hmm. I take it in, they process it, and then I just type in my student ID number. It pops up, and says that I've paid, and I go on my way. And I did that for a while, and then I think in high school, in middle school, after middle school that stopped, and I just started paying for my lunches because my mom got a job, and my grandma's got a buyout from GM, so we had a little bit more money. But it was nice because it was it was super simple. You filled out a form, just did a couple things you had to do. It wasn't super lengthy either. And so that's kind of how I think that might be just in Michigan. But that's a way that I, and anybody could do it, that, you just had to prove that you were somewhat of a low-income family. And so, but this is kind of a cooler idea because it's other parents donating to, help feed. Because I know a lot of parents that would have been like, oh yeah, you need, a couple bucks for lunch. Yeah, I'm not going to let you starve. And the cool part about this story is, these are high schoolers.
Yeah.
It's not like they're, our age, my age, or, well, they're your age. I think they're about 17. But it's not like they're my age or, my grandma or, even as old as some of our politicians that we have. I mean, these kids are 17 years old. And so, and the girl who came up with it believes it's just this kind of a simple pay it forward, or has a simple, pay it forward model, which is super awesome.
Do they have, a grant or something that could, sort of fund those kids in need for food?
I don't know. I think they're still working on the entire concept. One of the girls that's helped working on it was somebody who came up with an app. I'm trying to remember completely what they said about it. Was working on it. Oh, here it is. Was actually featured on the news for creating the first app ever to target specifically towards seniors with Alzheimer's. The 12-year-old originally designed her timeless app as a means of helping her grandmother keep track of dates, people, obligations, and other memories on it. It turned out to be wildly successful. And so they're calling themselves Team Fig. The Team Fig is focused on developing the, and it's actually called Food for Thought, the Food for Thought app for the 2018-2019 school year. The girls have already secured funding for the prototype via their GoFundMe page campaign, they did get a grant. It was a $2,000 grant from the Allstate Foundation for Good Starts.
Wow.
So, I mean, these are really smart kids. In addition to applying for a nonprofit status, they hope to begin beta testing within the next few months. While the government's laws and budgeting may change, we believe that community ties are long-lasting. The Food for Thought reflects this will make it easy and accessible for people to donate and help limit the possibility to stop school lunch inequality and its byproduct of food shaming. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I think this is amazing just because these kids are only in high school. I mean, one of them's 12 years old.
They're developing this for this year. I'm looking at their fundraiser on GoFundMe right now. So their goal is actually, I think it says $1,500, and they raised over that to $1,720, and that was raised by 41 people in 2 months. So obviously, it's a fresh new story,
right?
But yeah, I think the power of technology is so cool that where it's more like you said, it's easier to give money when it's at a click of a button. That's why I was kind of cautious when I was going to Starbucks and they're like, here, try our app. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I thought you'd just buy a coffee and then you'd get points for it, right? No, you have to put the money on your phone and then you have to pay for the coffee through your phone to get the points.
Well, and it's kind of like, they say that they have a rewards card. Well, no. The rewards card is the same thing. You take an old gift card, you put money on it, you use that to buy your coffee, and you get points.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll just stick with my,
credit card,
other rewards card and my debit card. And now, don't get me wrong, I use Samsung Pay, which, because of a few friends of mine that I've talked to that are into, working on developing apps and different things, they told me it was the Samsung Pay, not the other ones. The Samsung Pay is just as safe as a credit card sitting in your wallet, if not a little bit more. So that kind of made me. I started using the Samsung Pay a little.